Well, the Samaang Basketball ng Pilipinas has yet to officially announce the final 12 players who will represent the country in the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup. Key players have already been identified, and we have basketball analyst Coach Norman Black to talk about who could play crucial roles in this Gilas roster. Coach, I know everyone's obsessed about the final 12, but there will always be members from that 12 who will probably do more than others. And I think those are who we're going to focus on right now.
Yes.
We're talking a bit off the air about how the Wings are going to have a very long tournament, considering the athleticism present in the FIBA Basketball World Cup this time around. Amongst the Wings of Gilas Pilipinas, who do you think that we should talk about the most here?
Well, I think the two guys that stand out the most will probably be Ramos, who is normally playing a lot of minutes. At least he has been in the preseason. He's been playing about 25, 26 minutes a game. So he would be one main guy that would man that three position for us, the small forward position. And of course, Malonzo of Ginebra. He's going to be a mainstay as far as getting minutes and being able to use his athleticism against some of the players we're going to go up against.
Coach, when you talk about Dwight Ramos, what can you see with this game that will, have an impact in this FIBA World Cup?
It's interesting. He's much more athletic than you think.
Right.
I had a chance to coach him with the national team for a little while, and he's quite strong. And he's a legitimate 6'5", and maybe 6'6", so he has some size on him too. So he can actually match up with some of the wingmen we're going to go up against, at least the 6'5", 6'6" wingmen we're going to see.
I want to pick your brain, Coach, because Jamie Malonzo, typically, at least here locally, we think that he's a guy who can defend 1 through 4.
Yes.
Might be a bit tougher in the FIBA stage, but how do you see him defending here for Gilas Pilipinas?
Well, even though it may be tough, it may happen because he may have to be out there at the 4 position sometimes, just so we can start to switch some of these pick and rolls and be able to switch the pin downs and keep matched up and we don't get left behind. So he's going to have to play some 4 maybe. Now, there will be matchups where it's going to be difficult. Maybe Angola, he might be able to play a little bit of 4. Maybe the first game against Dominican Republic is going to be very, very difficult for him to play the 4 because they have some size on them.
Yeah.
Coach, when you talk about athleticism, how important is that in a FIBA World Cup where, we're playing the best of the best, the most athletic players around the world? And for the Philippines, that's not really our main weapon, being athletic. But when you have a guy like Jamie Malonzo who can, play in both ends of the floor.
Well, athleticism is a good thing.
Yeah.
I always look at that when I'm recruiting players, but at the same time, there's something to be said for fundamentals and being able to be a fundamentally sound player. So athleticism is not everything. No matter what you say, as athletic as Malonzo is, he's going to go up against some guys in this tournament who are more athletic than him. Same thing with Ramos. And, you just have to use some of your fundamentals to make up for the fact that you may not be as athletic as some others.
A lot of people, when they take a look at the international game, have been starting to focus more on the wings, but then the bigs have becoming a bigger part of international basketball as well as of late, especially with guys like Markkanen and Jokic doing all these things. And our big guys now have to deal with those types of guys. You have Kai Soto, AJ Edu, Jumar Fajardo, Japet Aguilar. Coach, you take a look at the bigs. What do you think should stand out for these guys going into this World Cup?
Well, that is one of my biggest concerns going into the tournament, the fact that a lot of the teams that we're going to face, their bigs are actually wingmen. If they play in the NBA, they're actually out there shooting 3-pointers or they're making moves from the perimeter, moving towards the basket or setting pick and pops, and that's what they do for a living. In our case, our big men are really big men. They really act like big men, they play like big men, so they're going to have to make some adjustments as they go up against some of these big guys we're going to face. But at the same time, it just means Edu, Japet Aguilar, they're going to be main players for us in this tournament.
And Coach, let's try to keep our focus here on Kai Soto. Actually, Aaron Black talked to us about
Who's
Kai
that guy?
offensively yesterday. But when you talk about Kai Soto defensively, Coach, what are you seeing with him and how he's going to be anchoring that defense for Gilas Pilipinas?
Well, we talked about it a little bit the last time I was here, but my major concern would be the drop defense. How are we going to defend their pick and rolls? Whether it be in the middle, which will probably be the most difficult to defend because it's in the middle of the floor, they can go left and right, and they can actually space down or they can space to the side, whatever it may be. So how are we going to utilize our big guys? Will they be able to just handle the guards coming down the lane? And who's going to pick up the big man if that is the case, if he pops, if he dives? So how Kai and Jumar handle the pick and rolls is going to be very, very important, or how Coach Chuck Reyes, comes up with the philosophy of what he wants to do against the pick and rolls is going to be very important.
You know, you mentioned Junmar having to deal with the switch. I remember just watching the San Miguel series against Bay Area Dragons in particular, when they attacked Junmar over and over again to the point that they had to take him off the floor. If you're a Junmar Fajardo coach, how does he stay on the floor when teams start managing to take advantage of that drop defense of Gilas Pilipinas?
Well, what he doesn't want to give up are the jump shots.
Yeah.
In other words, the guy coming off taking a 17, 18-footer wide open because he's backing up on the play. He's dropping.
Right.
So he has to have the ability to stay maybe level with the screen, at least for a moment, to slow down the guard from attacking him immediately and pulling up for that jump shot, and then back up afterwards as the guard starts to move forward. That'll give his teammate, the other guard, a chance to get back to his man, especially if they're not going to switch those screens or they're not going to show hard on the screens. His teammate's going to have to get back to his man to release him back to the big. And the weak side defense is going to be important. Who's going to catch the big as he's going down the lane? So that guy from the corner is going to have to come over and help defensively. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into a pick and roll defense, whether it be from the middle, whether it be from the side, whether it be going baseline. There's a lot of action you have to really execute.
That was the one question I was really excited to ask Coach, because it was the most intricate one.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to in the World Cup. So we talked about the wings, we talked about the bigs, Coach, but let's talk about a guard named Scotty Thompson.
Yeah.
He's healthy, he's been playing great in the practice games. What can a Scotty Thompson bring to the international stage, Coach?
Well, I actually love Scotty. I know he wasn't a point guard when he was in college, but he did average a triple-double in college. So he's been doing this for quite a while now, handling the basketball, running his team, being able to score. But more importantly, I think what he brings to the game is defensively, he's pretty solid, even though he's only about 6'1". And he's very, very good at rebounding the basketball. And that's going to be very important because we're going to have our hands full. Even in our first game against the Dominican Republic, I mean, they have some legitimate, good big men on their team.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to be able to have our guards get down there and get a little bit dirty and get in there and get some rebounds for us because our bigs will be busy just boxing out.
We always talk about, when we talk about guards, we always end up talking about Jordan Clarkson. Obviously,
we got to
talk about Jordan Clarkson. And there was the friendly that we did lose against Montenegro. He had a lot of the shots. In fact, he was the only one to average to have the attempts up in double figures. But Coach, just how important is it to make sure that it's not just a Jordan Clarkson show offensively for Gilas Pilipinas, because he can't win a game by himself?
Well, what I've seen from Coach Chud is that Jordan's going to play a lot of point guard.
Yeah.
So the ball is going to be in his hands. So he does have control over whether he shoots a lot or whether he handles the ball and be able to distribute to his teammates. So he does have control, and he has the experience, and he has the talent, and he has everything going for him right now. He's going to be one of the best players in the tournament. There's no question about that. Now, how he can blend the chemistry with his teammates is going to be very, very important.
Well, don't go yet, Coach, because we still have you after the break.